Do you want to start over? You want me to delete this track and start over? Do it again?
No, we can keep going. I think it's fine.
Okay.
I mean, we're only like a minute in, so.
Yeah, hopefully take 2 is much better than take 1.
Yeah, hopefully. Take 1 was rough, to say the least. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the PUDs Podcast. So what's going on, dude? We're trying this again, episode 25.
What's going on, man? We're trying again. We're trying all over again.
Yeah, it was rough. So a little behind the scenes for our listeners. We tried to record last week on the 11th, and something went awry with Josh's audio track. We're pretty sure it was because there's some auto enhancement that Windows tried to apply with his new laptop to the track, which jacked it timing-wise, like really poorly. I found it utterly impossible to try to line up our tracks, to say the least.
These as technology gets smarter, it also gets dumber, because it was trying to auto-enhance an already enhanced microphone, and that was just causing quite an issue between the recording. And I could, like, once I played it back, I'm like, oh yeah, I sound terrible. I sound like I was talking through like a Turtle Beach Xbox headset.
Yeah, it really sounded poor. It did not sound that great.
Yeah, it was not good.
Which I mean, if it sounded like that and we were getting it out to the listeners just for the content sake of it, I would have been like, we could still apply a compressor to it. And like, it wasn't like awful to listen to. It's not like you're a robot, but there were some, I think anytime you laughed like loudly, it just totally fuzzed out.
Oh yeah. We don't need that, because I laugh a lot.
You do laugh a lot. You do.
Yeah, I can't help myself.
All right, so with that, yes. With that said, I think we'll try to sort of redo some of the topics, which it's mainly Josh's topic this week that we're going to get into. Do a Nick's Music Moment, do a little intro here. And yeah, so what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. What's been going on with you?
Nothing much. Just getting out and doing some hiking. Got out to Owl's Head this past weekend, so I'm teeing up for a nice hike in Spuds that will throw all that in. I don't want to take all the episode doing that, but got out and finally did Owl's Head for the winter. With shout out to Mike from Slasher Podcast. So we had a Pud Slasher combo hike, if you will, which was kind of cool. Yeah, slashing the Pud, something like that. But other than that, good. We got some snow this week, so it's nice to see it looking a little wintry out there. Hoping to ice fish maybe this weekend or one of the coming weekends if we can actually go more than like a week without 2 inches of rain, which seems impossible since the summer.
Well, 50 some odd degrees like last weekend.
Yeah, not complaining though. We actually got to the zoo actually, so that was cool.
Which zoo?
Roger Williams.
Nice. How'd Rylan like it?
She was a lot more into it than the first time we went. She's actually like paying attention. I brought her back in September, and she kind of was like more looking at people than she was at the animals. And I think the highlight of the day was she really likes giraffes, and we walked into the little building that they have the giraffes in, and they were eating food, and she was just like, "Oh wow!" like super loudly, and she did that like 2 more times. It was precious. Wow. That like made our day. Yeah, and my mom came with us too, so Meme got to enjoy. So it was fun.
Sweet, dude. That's awesome. But Nick, did you hear about Bill Belichick? Have you heard the news?
I did. Yeah. I heard that that not only is he leaving the Patriots, but it seems like there's some different prospects that he's gonna be looking at.
Big scuttlebutt that he's gonna go to the Cowboys, but we'll see. But yeah, it's big news for those who haven't heard. Bill Belichick got let go from the Patriots. It was they did it pretty well. It didn't seem like he left on bad terms. It kind of just seemed like it was time to move on, and him and Robert Kraft kind of made that decision together. And I mean, what do you think about Bill going?
I don't know. I think that a lot of people seem happy about it. I personally, I'm not like super happy that he's gone. Like I don't have that much of a beef with him. He's done enough for the team. He's done so much for the organization to be on the outs. Obviously, it's frustrating when our team was like so good when Brady was on it, and just sort of the era that we kind of grew up in watching the Patriots. But in the end, you got to realize like the guy is he the most winning coach of all time, or he's going to potentially get that?
I think he's second. Yeah, I mean I think he's like maybe like 14 wins away from tying first place. So he's like one good season away from being the winningest head coach in NFL history. So that being said, like even if you don't like him and agree with him for the past few seasons, he's one of the best coaches, if not the best coach really in the NFL of all time. It's
at least
such
from
a
winning percentage. Yeah,
it's such
really
a Boston or New England thing to be like, oh, this coach sucks now. Let's get him out of here. Like the guy won you 6 Super Bowls, and yeah, like Tom Brady is obviously the greatest quarterback of all time, and it makes it a little bit easier, but the guy obviously had some part to play in all that happening, so you can't just poo-poo everything that he's done for all these seasons. Like our entire generation, basically, all we knew was winning. We knew winning football. We tuned in on Sunday, and these past couple of years, it's kind of been like, I don't even care if the Patriots are on. I'm not gonna watch. But I'm not saying Bill Belichick needed to get fired. I just think he needed to commit to a rebuild, and I don't know if that's something that he really wanted to do probably at this stage in his career. So
yeah, for sure. It seems like he wasn't willing to just take a year off, so to speak, and just sort of build the rest of the team.
Yeah. I mean, this year kind of felt like a year off.
Well, it did, but it also felt like, just what the hell are we doing in certain aspects? It just didn't make sense.
It was a bit of a mess for sure. So
yeah.
But we'll see where it takes them. Gerard Mayo was made the head coach. So I mean, I'm a big Gerard Mayo fan, so I'm not upset with it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was basically calling the defensive plays a lot on the field for like an 8-year span, something like that.
Yeah, he was great. He was a great linebacker, and he was, I think he was the linebackers coach, a defensive coach this year. So I mean, he's a homegrown guy. So it's nice to see one of those guys get a shot. I know a lot of people would talk about Mike Vrabel, who also a great homegrown guy, but I mean, it's nice to see them promote from within, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool, and someone that knows the organization, and I think to a degree the type of football that they're good at. But it does seem like their team strengths and weaknesses have shifted quite a bit since he was on the team, for example.
Oh yeah,
at least on the field, I should say.
For sure, but it's tough. It's tough to catch lightning in a bottle, right? And it's hard to win in any of these leagues. So we'll see. And even the NFL playoffs just started, and there was a lot of upsets. The Cowboys are out, the Eagles are out. Like all these teams that people had these high hopes for, like, are gone. The Buccaneers smoked the Eagles. Smoked them. Yeah, it was crazy.
I personally thought Dallas was going to do a lot better too. I don't know.
They lost to the Packers.
Yeah. I don't know.
The Packers, dude. The Jordan Love Packers. But
not even the Brett Favre Packers.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the Aaron Rodgers Packers.
Yeah, exactly. Not those Packers. But yeah, man.
That'll be cool.
Let's get into Nick's music moment.
All right, let's do it. So this will be a repeat from last week, but alas, we can't review last week, so I'm just
they don't know that.
The same
they don't know that it's a repeat. They don't know that.
Yeah, they're like, that'll be the lost Nick's music moment. We'll put it out as like a B-side sometime.
The lost tapes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so this week the first song is "Fast to the End" by the band Thursday, and the album's called No Devolution. This came out quite a while ago, I think around when I was in college even, but just a really good song. There's a really cool, I believe it's a reverse reverb effect that comes in on the vocals, so kind of has this cool little, I don't know, spooky-ish vibe to it. I just had been listening to this, sort of run it again. Probably can hear Rylan taking bath time in the background a little bit.
Too much bubbles.
Yeah, too many bubbles. That's what happens. Too much bubbles. I think she's protesting. The second song is Throwback, and it's Pride in the Name of Love by the band U2, and it's off the album The Unforgettable Fire. So this song, I knew the song. I didn't know the album as well. Kind of was going back and being like, oh, let me listen to some old U2, and this came up, and I hadn't listened to this album in a good long time. I'm sure I did listen to it at some point because I got pretty big into U2 out. But in any event, was listening to this and also been working on covering this on acoustic guitar, so it's been fun. It definitely pushes the vocals on my voice a little bit, which it's like that's like right there. Like how high Bono sings in that song is about as high as I can hit my voice without screeching out. So it's been cool practicing that, like, I don't know, every day or so, and feeling my voice get a little bit stronger, because at first I was trying to do it and I was like, not like I was losing my vocals or anything, but it just was a little hoarse. Like I could just feel my vocal cords straining to hit that chorus multiple times.
I gotta figure out do some vocal training, because I feel like my voice is always hoarse, dude.
Do you yell a lot?
Yes.
Well,
no, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
just kidding.
I don't really yell a lot.
Yeah, maybe you just need some lozenges or something, or some like honey tea.
Yeah, nice honey.
Something to lubricate your throat a little bit.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Josh is like, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, our third song is Digital Sea by the band Thrice, and the album is the Alchemy Index Volume 1 and 2, Fire and Water. So Thrice is definitely in my top 10 favorite bands. Been listening to them since The Artist and the Ambulance came out. I think we've had maybe a few songs by them in Music Moment so far. I know it had been a while since I picked one. But this song just been coming back around in my musical rotation. This album, the Alchemy Index Volume 1 and 2, marked a pretty big departure in sound, considering they were sort of like thrash punk pop back in The Artist and the Ambulance days, and then they sort of did Visu in between, which kind of saw them do some more experimental stuff, if you will. Not experimental like jazz. We're not talking something like crazy like that. Just
not Andre 3000 jazz flute?
No jazz flutes. But just in terms of using different types of percussion and instruments and things like that, I think they had a big Radiohead influence, especially for this song. But the album is really good. It's broken up again into Fire and Water. So this is on the water side, Digital Sea Water. And I really love and think one of the coolest things about the album itself is that each EP with the double sets, there's also a Air and Earth one that was kind of the counterpart to this album release. And they're all sort of mixed and mastered in their own way. So the water one, it sounds stupid, but like it sounds like water. Like a lot of it's really muffled and stuff. They do different things where I know just from behind the scenes YouTube videos I've watched and stuff where they like recorded drums in like different rooms with the doors closed, and they got a lot of really cool effects like pianos and like closed spaces and things like that give it this almost a feeling like you're literally underwater, like diving or something, and like listening to this stuff.
That's real cool. That's awesome.
It's pretty neat. It's just different, and that again I think came out probably when I was in like high school or something. So that's kind of an old one. They're still kicking around and making new albums too.
I remember you telling me about these albums, and I thought it was pretty cool. It's a cool concept.
Yeah, the vinyl, which I think I've showed to you before too, that they came out for it must have been the 10th anniversary a while back, is all EPs, and they're all the colors of like the elements they're on. So like the Fire one's like bright red vinyl. Yeah. The sea one, the water one is like super blue, then Air is like whitish gray and like smoky, and then Earth is like a brownish. So it's
real
neat.
Cool.
The fourth song is probably a song if you've been listening to Sirius XM or anything lately, like Alt Nation or whatever, it's been all over it. But Loving You by the band Cannons, and the new album that just came out I think like a month ago or whatever is called Heartbeat Highway, that's off of. So Cannons, just kind of a pop rock group. The lead singer has a fantastic voice. I really, really enjoy it. Enjoy listening to it. And this is just like a really just catchy song. I don't know. I need to find more adjectives and just get a thesaurus up before I do these sometime. Like I just use the same words over and over again. It's a lovely song, but it's good. It's super catchy.
It's got good synths.
Yeah, it does. It's just good. There's like a catchy little bass line into it. It almost sounds like sort of like a 70s disco-ish sort of thing going on. Like it's cool. And I've also been working on covering that on guitar too, and trying to do sort of an acoustic, slower version of it.
Nice.
So we'll see if that materializes into something that I share at all.
I'm looking forward to it.
You're just. I'm looking forward to the next time I play Horse with No Name, and we can sing together. No, that's sort of a thing. People out there, like, I don't know why that started, but it just became a thing where we sing Horse with No Name together sometimes.
Oh no! Every time the guitar comes out and we're together, for some reason we end up singing Horse with No Name.
Yeah. Okay, so the fifth and final song for this week in Nick's Music Moment for episode 25 is the song Crawl by Kings of Leon, and the album's Only by the Night. So this song takes me back absolutely to being like a freshman in college, senior in high school when this came out. It's the album that had Sex on Fire on it and Use Somebody, which I think everybody that is around our age and went to college, like those songs were just everywhere. And I also played them live in a cover band for quite a ways, that wouldn't make sense. For quite a while. The song Crawl also is a song that they opened with live kind of around this era for like 4 or 5 years. I've seen them at least 5 or 6 times live. They're like, I wouldn't say they're like a top 10 band for me, but as far as that era of my life, like it just takes me back, and I was listening to a lot of Kings of Leon.
Yeah.
So yeah. And do you have a Josh's Jazzy music moment? I said it correctly. Addition for our music moment. Yeah, that's the key. I really got to emphasize that Josh's
Jazzy music moment. But no, I do have something, and I know we already recorded and talked about this last time. So, but did you get to check out Drumeo?
I did not check out Drumeo. I actually have it. So I should say I just looked at like basically the page for it. I didn't actually like watch any of them yet. I did check it out. They had a lot of people on there too, which was cool. Yeah,
so basically I stumbled across, it's called Drumeo, and what they do, they have this cool concept where they take drummers in different walks of life, different bands, things like that, and they play them a track without the drum beat from an artist of basically a song that they've never heard before. So the episode that I watched, it was Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they had him drum along to The Kill from 30 Seconds to Mars.
Good song.
And he absolutely crushes it. Like, so what they do is they let him play through. He just has the vocals and guitars and all that in his headphones, and then he has to drum along to it. And at the end they show like how he matched up to the actual drum beat of the actual song, and yeah, he killed it. He kills it. It's really
pretty exact to what the studio track sounds like.
Yeah, it was pretty spot on, and honestly, it was the spots where it wasn't. I think he actually did it better than what the actual drummer did. So, but I mean, that's a great song. I really like that song from 30 Seconds to Mars. And they ask him at the end, they're like, "Do you know that song?" And he's like, "No, who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, that's 30 Seconds to Mars." And he's like, "Oh yeah, Little Jared's band." I thought that was funny.
Yeah, he's a killer drummer. I feel like so much of their music is like strong bass and drum parts. Yeah. I think the guitarists have swapped out a bunch over the years, but I think he's been sitting in that seat for a while, along with like Anthony Kiedis and Flea.
Do you have a favorite drummer?
That's tough to pick. I mean, it probably a really stock answer, but like John Bonham from Led Zeppelin probably is pretty iconic. Yeah. I just think of like when the levee breaks or some of the epic drum sounds that he has. It sounds like a cement mixer when he's drumming. Like it's just, his sound is incredible. And I know a lot of people too, I'd read this before, but a lot of people assume like his drum set was like huge and like boomy, but like he really didn't have a massive set. Like he just that's just how he sounded. Like he hit the drums that hard when he played. and I should really say not that hard, because that's, anybody can do that, like that precisely. And like his tone and tunings and everything were just that good. Like he just sounded good, which is really cool. You don't usually hear a thing where I feel like we're drummers where it's like, man, I love the way he sounds. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like Neil Peart from Rush.
He's a solid drummer.
Yeah, he some of the stuff he does, I'm like, how is he even doing that? How is he doing that? And just he just takes over the song sometimes. So it's that's probably my favorite.
I almost wonder if he was like a jazz drummer or something, or how he was schooled, because I feel like he's very technical.
Yeah. That was actually another Drumeo episode. They had like a guy that teaches jazz drum, and they had him play along to a song. I forgot what the song was, but that was pretty interesting to see. Yeah,
jazz drumming I know is just notoriously hard. And I kind of, this slipped my mind, but realistically, if I had to go with a drummer after like 2 minutes of just thinking about it, Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins, probably
nice.
One of my favorite drummers.
Nice.
I've seen
That's
him
probably
live several times.
Pick.
He's good. Yeah, and it also reminded me when you said jazz, because I know that he actually like grew up being a jazz drummer and was trained like that, and a lot of the things you learn just I think they come across really well. So probably playing rock music is like a pretty open template compared to playing some sort of jazz improvisational song with a bunch of different timings and things like that. And I do, he's also like most drummers is like jacked. Like I remember the first time you see him walk on stage with like his sleeves off, and I was like, holy crap. Like he looks like he looks like he could punch through like a cement pylon, like no problem.
The forearms you probably have to have, and like the shoulders like that you have to drum is like crazy.
Yeah, it's a very, very physical instrument. I mean, there's physical things about playing guitar or singing too, but not the raw, like you're literally moving all of your body to create this sound.
Yeah, you're exhausted by the time you're done.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, yeah, there you go. Check out Drumeo if you haven't already. And I want to get into the main topic with, you've got some news for everybody, I think, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into the main topic.
Cool. So what's the big news, Mr. Joshua?
So, a little peek behind the curtain. I know this is an audio medium and not a visual. Maybe one day we'll get into recording ourselves.
Are you going to be like, maybe one day I'll get a curtain?
Yeah, no. It's a peek behind.
I mean, I'd be able to see you.
But yeah, maybe one day we'll start recording us talking into these microphones. But I have moved locations from where I am recording this podcast. I have been banished to the basement, and that is because we are expecting a baby girl in 2 weeks now. 2 weeks?
Yeah, man.
Yes. Yep. So we haven't talked about it at all on the podcast, and figured this would be a good time to kind of share it before my life gets really, really hectic and really busy.
Yeah,
so
in case you disappear for a little bit.
Yeah. This will be our second child. Jeremiah's 5 years old, and now we'll have a brand new baby on deck. And yep, things will get hectic, and we'll get busy all over again for the second time. So, but we're looking forward to it. Melissa is an absolute trooper. She's done very well through this pregnancy, and yeah, it's been great. So maybe we'll have her on afterwards for the second, so we can go over both birthing stories, and we can compare and contrast how they go.
Yeah, I believe you left us on a cliffhanger way back in the episode where it was the story of the PUD. What the heck? I can't even think of the name of the episode.
PUDs origin story.
There you go, the PUDs origin story. I can think of the origin story part of it. But I believe you said you were going to ask her about the birthing story and sharing that there.
Yeah.
And we never got an answer.
Yeah, I'm slow playing it.
Melissa, if you're listening to this, it'd be really cool to have you on. But
yeah,
I'm not going to pressure you because I've seen a birth before. I wouldn't want to experience one personally. It's pretty amazing. And I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
You're right. You are surely right. But So the last time that we actually recorded, or the last episode we released, I had told you I was looking forward to the Christmas party that you were throwing.
Yeah,
so it might not have been the last
house.
episode we released. It might have been the one right before that. I think it was the music.
Yeah. Yes,
the Christmas
correct.
music episode. So
Yep.
for you listeners, go back and listen. And at the end of that episode, I tell Nick how excited I am to go to his Christmas party. And so we go to this Christmas party, and it turns out to be a surprise baby shower, which was awesome and was not expected at all.
Yeah, I'm glad we got you. I was pretty happy because I feel like you're a tough guy to fool like that.
Yeah, I am. I am very perceptive. So, but no, you guys did a great job. It would definitely, because it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that you invited people over to have a Christmas party at your house. It's not like you don't throw parties at your house. So it was like very nonchalant. So much so that we were like a half an hour late because we had to stop to pick up bags for the gifts that we got for you guys.
Oh man. Yeah, they went as far as wanting people to park at the town hall further down the street. I thought that was maybe a little bit too far. I don't think you would have noticed.
Yeah, I probably would have.
Maybe Adam's car, but I don't know about.
I don't even think so, man, because I don't pay attention to what people drive, and so nobody can drive the same car. Like, I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know what any of the people that would have been at a party that you're throwing at your house, I don't know what those people drive. Like, that might have been a little bit too far, but yeah, you guys did a great job keeping it under wraps, and Melissa was very grateful for everything. I was very grateful. Jeremiah, when we walked in and everybody started yelling surprise, I'm like, oh, that's cute. They just did a little surprise to surprise Jeremiah for this Christmas party.
That's funny.
And then I started looking around. I'm like, wait, why are they here? Why are they here? That's kind of weird. And then I'm like, oh, I saw the baby stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay. They got me.
Why did Nick invite my cousins to the party?
Yeah. Why is Melissa's cousin here? Why are my coworkers here? This is strange. But yeah, so, and Nick and my brother-in-law Nate are the godfathers of this baby, and Ashley, in front of the podcast, Sarah, the godmothers. So I know she's definitely gonna be in good hands with all you guys. So this is probably the last one too. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Never say never. But yeah, man, I'm glad it was a good time. Ash, friend of the podcast, Sarah, and sister-in-law of the podcast, the other Ashley, Mel's sister, did a really good job planning that out and setting everything up.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. I just made a heck of a charcuterie board that I was eating.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I was eating it for like the next week or whatever on sandwiches and stuff. So
yeah,
I love cheeses. Maybe I just did it for myself.
You probably did. You wanted an excuse to have a bunch of cheese.
No, I was actually recruited to make the charcuterie board.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was a good time. And the running joke of the night with Josh was that I came for the Christmas party. He's like, I'm just waiting for the Christmas party to begin.
Yeah, I got no part. I have no part to play in a baby shower, so I was just waiting for the Christmas party to begin. And then I kept you out on your deck, probably later than you wanted to stay out drinking wine, because I know you had an early hike the next day.
Yeah, I actually decided the next day to do Tom Field Willie for my fall list, which was before. This is the Sunday of the week before Christmas. So, like a week or week and a half from Christmas. But anyways, I was just going to mention, because I was doing it for my fall list and there was a ton of snow up Tom Field Willie. And then we got that crazy rainstorm the week after. But needless to say, I was a little tired the next day. we were having fun out there. The conversation was flowing. It was worth it though.
It was
I
good.
enjoyed it.
It was flowing like the cranberry apple wine that I was drinking. It was flowing.
Yeah.
I must have taken down at least 3/4 of that bottle.
Just about. Yeah, just about. We'll just say there wasn't a lot left.
I was getting a good sexy wine buzz. I was getting a Christmas party sexy wine buzz.
Yeah. So we had our own little Christmas party by the propane fire on our deck.
Yeah. But it was good. It was a good way to kick off now that Christmas is all over, New Year's is over, and now we can kind of just focus on bringing another child into this world. So I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm probably going to be leaning on you and friend of the podcast, Adam, as girl dads for some guidance on some things, but except for bath time, I won't be leaning on you for bath time because you use too much soap.
Yeah, you know, I'm dangerous. Ryland becomes like a greased pig, which I'm remembering we brought up on the last record of this, but look up where that terminology comes from. I still didn't look it up. How many people are out there greasing their pigs?
Nobody's greasing a pig. Who was the first? Yeah, who was the first guy to grease a pig and be like, this sucker's slippery? And
more importantly, why did he grease the pig?
Probably not for any good intentions, I would imagine.
Yeah. Like, I want to get this pig all slippery. His wife's like, "What are you doing back there, Fred?" "I'm greasing the pig." "What are you doing?"
You know, that old saying, it's slipperier than a greased up pig. I've never heard that. Oh.
Well, I'm greasing the pig. Go do the dishes.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, so, yeah, I'm a little nervous. Because once, 5 years old, Jeremiah's very sufficient. He can do a lot of things himself. So it's been very nice to just not have to worry about too much of what he's doing on a daily basis. But now it's back to full vigilance at all times.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with the whole going through the sleep deprivation thing again and all that.
The sleep deprivation. I got to put all the plugs in the electrical sockets, like those covers. Got to get all the child-proof stuff. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
I mean, you'll have a little bit of time before you get to deck the house out with the child-proof stuff again.
Before she's moving around.
We got a ton of electrical plug covers left if you need any, by the way. Apparently someone thought that we have 3,000 electrical sockets in our house. We have a lot. I think we got a 250 pack or something like that.
Yeah. I'll take some of those because I do have 2,000 electrical sockets in this house.
You're and USB sockets.
For some reason, not 2,000 in the basement, just one in the basement. So I have to run an extension cord from the one electrical outlet I have down here over to my new recording area.
Wow, there's really only one?
Yeah.
That's strange.
They got cheap on the basement.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I got 4 light bulbs down there.
They spared no expense.
Yeah. It's well lit. You just can't plug anything in.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy, too, that Ryland's going to have a potential playmate a couple of years down the road.
I know. That is cool. That is going to be cool. Not that, Jeremiah loves playing with her, too, but the age difference is just too much. He just wants her to do too much that she can't do yet.
Yeah, she's kind of just she can't. He's at the point, jumping on couches and doing stuff like that. Ryland's just about walking around. Yeah.
He's playing video games now.
But she can't climb up stuff and whatnot.
So I downloaded Kingdom Hearts on my PS5 the other day. Did you ever play Kingdom Hearts?
No, I actually didn't. Yeah, I kind of was on the Xbox train by the time PS5 came out. So
yeah, I never played it either. But so Jeremiah's he's on full video game mode now. He's not even just play with toys anymore. He's beating up bad guys with Donald and Goofy.
Yeah, I always thought that's interesting how that. So it's like an RPG game where you're playing with Disney characters and stuff.
Yeah, the main character, and then the Disney characters join up with you, and you go fight these things. I don't know. He hasn't made it too far because even though he's playing, solving video game puzzles is not up to his stature yet. I
was gonna say a lot of those RPG games have a lot of dialogue and whatnot too. So
yeah.
Is he pretty good reading it, or is it you're reading it to him?
He can't read.
Yeah,
he can't read, so I have to sit there and read it.
That's
to
true.
him.
I guess he is only 5. I'm thinking you're not reading paragraphs of information at that point.
It's all right though. He enjoys it, and I don't mind. I like that he's enjoying video games because I loved video games when I was a kid.
Yeah, Rylan will sit there with me sometimes if I'm playing Xbox upstairs, and I give her a controller with no batteries in it, and she like thinks she's doing stuff.
Yes.
So that'll keep her entertained for a good 15 or 20 minutes. Then I think she realizes eventually that it's not doing anything.
Yeah. That old chestnut of a trick will work for you until they're probably about 5, 6. Like, it still will work with Jeremiah. I can pretend that. I can give him a controller and pretend that he's playing with me.
He's like, Daddy, I'm moving the joystick left and the character is not going left.
Yeah, it's reverse. It's reverse. The joystick goes the other way. Oh. So looking forward to this baby, obviously. Not looking forward to sleeping on that hard couch in the hospital for 3 days, but
oh my God, they were so hard. And I can attest to, because we both had our kids at the same hospital in the same suites. Yeah. So I'm assuming unless maybe they refresh the couches since I had Rylan.
I mean, the nice thing is at least it like flattens out, so it's like at least a bigger than like a twin size bed. I guess it's a little bit bigger, but not by much. Yeah, I don't. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I like the snack cabinet behind the nurse's station. That's my favorite part about staying in the hospital.
So when I went, it was mostly empty, like most of the time.
That's because I was there.
And you talked it up so much. I'll be like, it'll be fine. They have snacks behind the nurse's station. And like I went there and it was like one bag of microwave popcorn and like maybe like 7 cans of like Canada Dry ginger ale. That's about what they had.
For some reason, hospital ginger ale is like a superior ginger ale to the rest.
It was good. I crushed all the ginger ale while I was there. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, like you were saying with that, even though the couches are hard, it is nice with shout out to St. Luke's Hospital, New Bedford. But they have really nice maternity suites with like couches that the dads can actually sleep on, and they're actually pretty good size. And it was really nice.
Yeah, they end up folding out bigger than like a twin size bed. They get pretty big. Yeah,
and for real too, like you're so tired after that you could probably fall asleep on anything. I think the 2 days after we had Rylan of us being awake, and then like I didn't even give birth, and like I remember we slept for like 2 or 3 hours straight, and it was like I slept for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like I woke up, I'm what? I'm like, where am I? What just happened?
I don't think I slept until like the second day, and it was like you just this whole other level of like adrenaline that you get for some reason is wild. I don't know where that energy comes from, but you're just there. I think it's like that sense of responsibility now. It just perks you right up.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. It's definitely something, just the genetic needs of like being a parent and stuff. Like you do seem to just get more energy when you need it. And I think part of it is like you literally don't really have a choice. Like
right.
You're like, well, right. I have a child now in the world, another little human being that I created.
Right.
And I'm kind of responsible for it, so I can't just go to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that, it's just that sense of responsibility. Like if I don't take care of this thing, it's not capable of taking care of itself. So I need to be available to care for it and love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So for all you people out there, if you want any advice on parenting, you can reach out to the boys.
At least up to the age of about 5-ish. 5-ish.
Yeah,
okay.
Almost just 5.5.
Just gonna specify that a little bit more.
Yeah, after that, I don't know. it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I feel like I just remember when you and Mel were like having Jeremiah and going to see him in the hospital.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. It's like. It flew. Time really flew by, and like I was sharing on Facebook. Like we went to our first vacation together up in New Hampshire. That was 10 years ago now.
Yeah, at the Pemmy cabins in Lincoln, and it was like insanely cold, and you had like a hell of a ride up. At least we had a long ride up because I think it was at the tail end of a blizzard when we went up around MLK weekend. Yeah, it would have been MLK.
I think it was MLK weekend,
yeah. And Yeah, we had a pretty rough ride up. Like I'd like slid through one of the toll booths, I remember, because it was so like slushy and icy. But you and Mel had a super tough ride up, from what I recall.
Yeah. So it was like one of the coldest day, like weekends of the winter that winter, and we were riding up, and the windshield washer fluid in I think we were in Melissa's car, ended up freezing, and we were driving through Boston getting ready to go in the tunnel, and there was some windshield washer fluid in the trunk, so I dumped it all over the windshield of the car to try to clean off the windshield before we went under, because it was getting all salty and mucky. So I get it cleaned off, and we're getting ready to go through that tunnel in Boston, and as soon as right before we get into the tunnel, a truck like splashes some like salty, mucky water right onto my windshield, and I can't see. So we're driving through the tunnel, and I can't see out of the windshield, and I'm like, "Put your head out the window and tell me if I'm getting close to any cars or the
sketchy.
wall."
And the tunnel in Boston.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to like got my head out at one window, Melissa's got her head out the other window, and like got my windshield wipers like wiping, trying to get anything I can off of that windshield, and it was like one of the scariest moments of my life. I thought I was gonna die in that tunnel. It was like, Jesus, take the wheel.
and for the listeners that haven't been through the tunnel in Boston, it's on 93, right? Pretty much that goes it goes like under part of the city, which is pretty wild. And kind of an interesting feat of engineering that I think is the result of the fact that they built Boston like below sea level way back in the day. But I mean, that aside, there's not really a breakdown lane in the tunnel. So when you say pulling over in the tunnel, you were more or less pretty much still in the lane. Yeah. You were probably like, you had cars probably within feet of you going 50 something miles an hour, just flying by you in a tunnel. Yeah. So
easy to say. I had to make it quick. I had to make it quick when I was cleaning it up.
Yeah. I remember getting up there that night, and again, we stayed at the Pemmy Cabins in Lincoln, which I think are still there. They might have like a newer owner, be a little bit renovated now, but we got there, and I'm like, man, it was a crazy ride up, and you're like, dude, you have no idea. No idea.
Yeah. And then the owner of the cabins is like, here's some firewood. Don't let your fire go out tonight. You will die. It was so cold that they literally told us not to let the fires go out.
Yeah, she's like, put your heaters up as high as they possibly can go, and don't let your fires go out. I think it got down to like it had to be close to like -20. It was something stupid. Yeah, it probably wasn't that terrible. Cold. It was like -12 or whatever. I remember that we, like back in the day with me and you drinking like cheap rum or like vodka or whatever, like we actually had, I think, a bottle of rum on the deck, and it actually started to frost up and freeze on top. That's how cold it was, which I've never seen happen since, literally to this day. Like usually you can leave that stuff in a freezer or whatever and it's fine. So it was very cold. Very cold.
My favorite memory was playing Trivial Pursuit and pounding Woodstock Old Man Oatmeal Stouts.
Yeah, dude. That was when Woodstock was still doing like 22-ounce bottles of their beers, and I introduced you to craft beer, I believe, that weekend. Yeah, sort of introduced you.
You sure did, because I was like, from then on, I was like, oh, this is tasty. This is very tasty. I can drink a lot of this.
Yeah, I think
I was a Miller High Life man before that. It's the champagne of beers. So.
Yeah, I remember we kept walking back into different places and trying to see if they had more 22s of that. Like I think Woodstock didn't have any more, so we were like checking gas stations. Yeah, a lot of Old Man Oatmeal Stout was consumed in a several day span. And we also checked out the ice castles, like the OG ice castles. I don't know how long they go back.
Before the ice castles were even a thing, like we were in the ice castles. That's how long ago we did this trip. Like,
yeah, we're talking before Hobo Railroad. Yeah, before you had to book. Yeah. Before they were at Hobo Railroad, they were actually at Loon. And I think we noticed it because I think me and Ash did a half day skiing and snowboarding, and then you and Melissa did a day like tubing, I think. Yeah, and and we literally just noticed they were there, and we're like, oh, we'll go back to this later and check it out. Which sounds so trivial now compared to like booking something online and waiting in line to get in and all the stuff now.
Yeah, the guy out front was like, "Hey, you guys want to do what? You want to go in there? Oh yeah, just give me $10 and you can go in."
Yeah, you can just walk in. It probably wasn't even associated.
Wasn't even an attraction yet. We made it a thing, and now you have to like book out months in advance to go walk through the ice castles.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And actually, it's not even at the Hobo Railroad anymore. It's like further down in Woodstock, like heading towards like almost where like Moosilauke and like the Loris River Gorge is and stuff. So it's like not even in that location anymore. It keeps getting bigger and bigger.
It reminds me that we're getting old. Obviously, 5-year-old son, and Ryland's going to be 2 this year, right? Yeah. So it's like time is just, it's just flown by. But glad we get to spend it together, buddy.
Yeah, I agree. And Josh's beard just gets longer and longer and longer.
That's how you know time passes. Yeah. It's an old movie trick. If you go from one scene to another, if the guy has a beard in the second scene, that means time has passed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was crazy to think that was 10 years ago. We all look like, it's weird to like start to see pictures and I'm like, man, we look like a lot younger. Like 10 years is a pretty long time.
Yeah.
10 years.
It's before
almost 2 kids.
Before I figured out how to have like nice hair.
Yeah.
Back when I was still like shaving my head, doing a number 2 with a taper. Like,
yeah, we had hats on most that weekend though, so that didn't really matter. Yeah. I had short hair still at that point too.
Yeah.
I didn't get long hair until
I looked at the picture and it went, and like all the baby pudge that you still had, I've now consumed to my body. You're like way thinner now. Not like, you're actually not way thinner, but like whatever little baby pudge, like you had like these little baby pudge cheeks, and now they're all gone. Now you have grown man cheeks. And I took it all.
Like, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we all look younger in that picture. We all still have. We look so young and vibrant and full of hope.
That was funny. We were all getting good 10 hours of sleep every night at least.
Yeah. Remember when that was a thing?
Yeah, remember sleeping till noon.
Yeah, and we played a bunch of Trivial Pursuit, and I always remember too that there was some question. I think it was like, what ancient civilization is also the title of a B-52 song, and I knew it was Mesopotamia, and I convinced Mel that it wasn't Mesopotamia, despite the fact that she definitely knew it was Mesopotamia.
Yeah, she definitely knew. Any history question she's gonna get. Don't doubt her history knowledge.
And that was like a thing that weekend that I like kept joking with Mesopotamia, because I think we ended up like winning. And Trivial Pursuit games are pretty long, and we played like a couple of them.
Yeah,
that's what you do when it's like negative 10 degrees out.
Oh yeah, that's good. We got to go back to those days where we just hunker down in a cabin and play board games all night.
Could go to the Pemmy cabins again.
Let's do it. They just renovated them, and they're adding a couple more cabins. I just saw it the other day.
Yeah, they said some multi-person cabins and stuff too, but it was a nice spot with being right off Route 3 there, and then you got the river in the background, so it just makes you have to pee all the time when you're there.
Yeah. It was pretty cheap too. We were broke, so it must have been cheap enough for us to afford it.
Yeah, I bet you it's a lot more now. Not a lot more, but I would have liked to know. I feel like we didn't even pay like $100 a night or something.
No,
like maybe.
I think it was like 40. I think it was like $48 a night, dude. I think it was something crazy like that.
Yeah, I remember you had to bring your own soap and like pretty much everything. Like I don't think they had any. It was like a bed, but it's all we needed. It's all we needed at the time. Yeah. Fireplaces were really nice.
Bed and old man oatmeal stout.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, no hiking. We didn't hike.
No,
too cold.
Yeah, I know we went around like just like where the old man used to be and stuff, and there were just snowmobiles everywhere all weekend.
Yeah, it was a really good time. That was like before you were into like really big into your hiking.
Yeah,
too. I think you were just getting started.
It was, yeah. I mean, if it was 10 years ago, it would have been 2014. So I think that was right before we started hiking, like the 4,000 footers and stuff. I think it was like that summer we probably started.
Yeah, for sure.
Before I became hiker Nick.
Yeah.
And golfer Nick, for that matter.
Yeah. Scoutmaster Nick.
I was Scout. Yeah, it was before Scoutmaster Nick. I was going to say that didn't happen. Yeah.
That was like, we didn't even know each other for that long. We were just like, hey, you want to go on vacation?
Yeah, I don't even know how it happened.
Yeah. I was like, they seem all right. They seem like okay people. You want to go hang out with them?
Yeah.
And Melissa was like, yeah, I'll make it happen. And it happened.
Cool. And now look where we are 10 years later on a podcast together, fighting technology.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
man,
we're saving the rest of your hikes for a later episode.
Yeah, we'll do a later episode. I don't know if we want to do that next full episode or do a Spuds or whatever. Me and Ash are probably going to try to do an intro to winter hiking Spuds.
Nice.
For the listeners. And I want to like list it out. And actually, I know we talked about it loosely before, but I just wanted to actually like write down my gear, prep a little bit, and sort of talk about just like a informal intro to winter hiking. But yeah, we'll save it for another episode because at this point I've got Tom Field Willie back before the solstice, and then I had Franconia Ridge, the Kinsmans and Bald Peak, had some little family hikes we did with Rylan, and I have Owl's Head, so I have I have some tales to talk about, some things.
I'm looking forward to hearing about Owl's Head.
Yeah, Owl's Head was...
no spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, it was fun.
Because I read your post. We'll save that.
Yeah,
we'll save that for the next episode.
I had a minor... Yeah, anyway, I'll save it.
No spoilers.
Yeah, Josh's like, I could tell you want to say it.
Yeah, don't say it. All right, let's get into the descent.
All right, let's do it. All right, man. So you got anything to plug? Anything new? What you watching? What you up to? What you descending?
I'm descending into. We've been watching. CNN does like the decades, like basically pop culture and important happenings of the decades. They kind of do a documentary series on that. So we've been watching. We started with the 90s, and now we're on so we did the 90s, the 2000s, and 2010s. So we've been enjoying that. I think it's like produced by Tom Hanks.
That's cool.
But it's been really cool to like go back and like relive a lot of things from your childhood and stuff like that, or things that you remember or didn't even know about that was happening like in America while we were alive, I guess.
Does Tom Hanks narrate that too?
He doesn't really narrate it. They have a bunch of different like celebrities or like personalities that come and talk about the different topics or whatever. Like there's like the way that it seems like it's laid out, like the first episode they do all TV, so all TV from that decade, and then the second episode is usually all music from that decade. So they'll have kind of people specific to like what they're talking about, not really narrate it, but just kind of comment on the different things. So yeah, that's cool. It's really good. Yeah,
I might have to check that out. It reminds me of I think VH1 did like the 90s and 2000s and stuff.
I love the 90s.
It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. But those are kind of interesting. It's interesting too, knowing that we were alive, but just when you're like 5 or 10, like you don't know what's going on. Like I remember 2001 and September 11th and stuff. But before that, I couldn't really. I'd be hard pressed to tell you like a really momentous event that I remember as a kid happening. Like do you remember like the Oklahoma City bombings or anything like that? Like I don't remember that. Yeah, they happened in the the first World Trade Center bombing happened too.
Yeah, they talked about all.
I don't remember any of that.
They talked about all of that. The what is it? The Branch Davidians when in Waco, Texas, when they when the government comes in and like burns down their whole compound, but they'd already the government doesn't burn down their compound; they burn down their own compound. That was I
don't think I've heard of that either.
Yeah, but I've heard about all those things now as an adult. Like I've listened to podcasts and stuff like that about them, but as they were happening, I was probably like 6.
Yeah, so not enough where you're paying attention to that type of stuff.
Yeah, 9/11 was definitely the biggest thing. But even like rewatching it now as an adult, like obviously you kind of get the impact of it as when you're younger because it's kind of so big of a thing. But as an adult going back and watching it, it's like, oh yeah, this is like really, really messed up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I know I've gone back and watched some of those documentaries too, but even though like as a kid, obviously, like you said, it affects us because I think you notice how serious it was. Everybody else around was treating it, and stuff, and like the day after and stuff. But to think that like someone literally flew a jet airliner like into a skyscraper and like I mean pretty much like New York City the gem of the United States. Like that's kind of the main city. I feel like when people think of, I know there's LA and San Francisco and Boston and stuff, but New York City I feel like is the city. Like it's the center of a lot of the capital world, marketing, things like that, trade. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to watch like George Bush's, how he responds to all that too. Like that's something that they go into a lot, is like how he reacts and responds and what he does and why he does it. It's like, I think we think of George Bush as such a joke president, like when we go back. But I think if you go, like, I think as history continues, like, I think a lot of people are kind of going to be like, oh, actually, George Bush did a pretty good job. Like,
yeah, I was literally about to say the same thing as watching those press conferences and stuff. And you think of how other presidents might have handled that, and without us getting like too political, like, I don't know if I could see really any other presidents that we've had since like dealing with it the way that he did. I don't know, but just
we're gonna build a wall.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, how about you? You been watching anything good?
So still watching Kitchen Nightmares and also watching Tiny House Nation, which we joke is like our vacation TV show, but we were up in New Hampshire a couple weeks back and started watching it again, and it's kind of all about like the tiny house sort of movement and whatnot, with people moving out of the bigger houses for either budgetary reasons or personal reasons, and kind of wanting to pare down and get into a smaller home. So that's always entertaining.
Is it tiny people buying houses or
no?
Like
no, it's normal people buying tiny houses, and it just goes into the bill. Fair question. Okay. Yeah, and it goes into them like
that's a show, right? Like with tiny people, isn't there like a tiny people show?
Probably,
like
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
I'd like to see the like my 500-pound life. What people like battle against the tiny people.
Oh man. Any hoots. So we've been watching that, and it made me think of too when you're just talking about there is an episode that we just watched where there's an NBA player that's actually looking to get a tiny house, and actually I forget his name, but he's a native from LA and played a center on a couple teams in the NBA, and it was kind of funny. They were talking about like having to do like 7'6" door frames for him as opposed to like I think they do like 6'8" normally or whatever.
That's
just
wild.
It wasn't going to fit him, and it was kind of cool to see them engineer.
Why does that guy need a tiny house for? I
honestly forget the exact reason why he wanted it. I think it was just to like get somewhere mobile more that they could bring like around to different lakes and stuff like that, and know that they have like a constant sort of home. And
I might check this out. And
I think
I'm intrigued.
There's like funny little quirky things too. Like one of the most recent episodes we watched where they typically like when they finish the house build, they'll like bring it to like a beautiful location. Like sometimes most of the time it's people's property that they already like bought ahead of time. And sometimes it's like places where you could tell like it was a friend of a friend or whatever, like staged it so that they're like getting this beautiful scenery when they're staying in their house. And like one of the most recent ones, I think it was in like Northern California, and these people like spent all this money on like this gorgeous like surf house. Like it was like really surf themed, and the people were big surfers and outdoors people. So they had like their kayaks fitted to it and like surfboards and all this stuff, and really neat. It had like this pull out porch that they made out of old surfboard decks that was pretty sick. And they're on this beautiful location when they show them in the house, like on somewhere like with cliffs and stuff and ocean in California with these epic beaches. And then they always go to like 2 weeks later to see how they're kind of like dealing with the tiny house moving and stuff. And these people like, oh, it's going great and stuff. And like, you can clearly see like, it looks like they moved into like an impound lot or something where the house actually is. They mentioned vaguely that it was like the property of a friend or something. But like the dude's like going, he's like, this is the best porch ever. And he's like sitting out drinking a beer, and like in the background, you just see like a barbed wire fence. I'm like, where are you guys?
You hear in the background, welcome to In-N-Out Burger. What can I get?
Yeah, it was too funny though. It was just really jarring. It's like, where did you guys? He's like, this is the best porch ever, and it's like, did you guys not save any money for like property to put it on? Like it looks like you're just in like a Toyota parking lot or something. It was interesting.
They're in the parking lot behind like a Ross clothing store. Oh man.
Yeah, it's cool though, that the engineering part of it and the design part of it's really, I find it pretty interesting. And then obviously you end up with a lot of different interesting personalities with something like that. Kind of like on Kitchen Nightmares in the restaurant industry.
Nightmares. There's Kitchen Nightmares can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, we're still plugging through it. We just keep finding different seasons that are for free on different platforms and watching it.
Most of them are on YouTube, I think, actually.
Yeah, a good amount are on Amazon Prime. I want to say we're on like the 7th season or something, but we had to skip like 5 and 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
But
once the baby's here, I'm gonna me and Melissa are gonna like watch The Sopranos from all the way through.
So good. Yeah.
She's never seen it, and I've only seen a little bit of it, so I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, that's when you need to like sit there. It's not like Game of Thrones level where the story's like that, but it's pretty complicated, a lot of what's going on, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Like I remember going back and rewatching stuff. That's on me and Ash's list to go back and just rewatch. We actually didn't watch it till like probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I didn't. I started watching it, but it was like I wouldn't pay attention and like be doing something else while I'm watching it, and then it would just be like I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah.
So you gotta like stay locked in.
Yeah, it's good. It's for sure. I think it was one of the first TV series that was made. Was it HBO it was on originally? Probably
HBO. Yep.
Yeah, not Max, just HBO back then. But anyways,
Max,
it was it was filmed very cinematically for a TV show. Like I think it was one of the first things that they were spending that kind of budget and getting like that kind of actors and stuff. Yeah. To do something that good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it because I've watched like Oz, I've watched The Wire, I've watched a lot of the good HBO stuff that they've come out with, Boardwalk Empire and stuff like that. But this is like a big one that I haven't seen, and Melissa hasn't seen it too. So we'll have some time to watch it together.
Yeah, how much time are you taking with the kid? Probably you got the 4 weeks.
Yeah, probably gonna take the 4 weeks and then see what happens.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
That's plenty of time to watch The Sopranos.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good for the baby. The baby.
Yeah. Baby just develops an Italian accent. You guys don't know why.
Say,
or like not an Italian accent, like a Brooklyn mafia accent.
Yeah. Gabagool.
Or actually, they're in New Jersey.
It's even worse. All right, man. Anything else?
Nah, dude. I did want to plug. I'm gonna have a new hiking video dropping pretty soon. It's been a while since I got out to Chikura and Middle Sister. I had one back in November. Just been hiking and not really filming, but I did take film doing Bald Peak and the Kinsmans a couple weeks back, continuing my winter 4,000 footers. So hopefully it's enjoyable to watch. I would be super thankful if people would watch because it literally was like a negative 20-degree wind chill when I started and was on the summits. I was pretty impressed with how my camera held up. It was pretty cool. It was fighting with a couple different things here and there, but yeah, my gear held up. Filmed at really cold temperatures. By yourself? Yeah, I did that one by myself.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very, very cold day, and we'll get into it more in the hiking episode. It was an interesting experience.
You just put out an acoustic YouTube cover, right?
I did. Yeah, I've been trying to put those out, but I did a cover with or without you on my Instagram /YouTube handle, Nick Hikes and Plays Guitar. So I did that cover. That's that's one too where I've been singing it, and I actually got a newer mic to put on my camera for doing the hiking videos, and a lot of times with my phone or whatever, my voice would end up like having too much gain on and fuzzing out the microphone. But the newer mic I got has a cool little switch that you can kick it down like 10 decibels. So what I did is actually imported the audio track and then like pretty much just boosted the volume on a little bit. And it was nice because my voice didn't clip at all in that like bridge part where he does the very dramatic whoa 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 part. I'm not going to sing it to this microphone.
Don't clip it.
You know which part I'm talking about.
Save something for the people to go look for.
Yeah. So that's up on there, and yeah, man, that's what I got going on. I'm going to be editing a ton of photos and things like that too. That I think I already shared or tagged PUDs on some of the videos I've been posting from when I was up. I did Cannon Mountain 2 when we were up 2 weeks ago, and got a ton of photos and videos of that. That'll be coming out. So I think that's it.
We got a lot of good stuff coming up. I got a couple actually guests I'm gonna start trying to line up so we can get some more guests on the pod and potentially a sponsor, but I'm gonna save that for down the road.
Cool.
We'll see what ends up happening, but I'm gonna have a lot I'm gonna have some free time. I'm gonna have less work and more family work in the next few weeks. So I'll at least be home, so Nick and I can do a little more recording, I think, and we can come up with some good ideas.
I've been writing on my notepad some little different ideas. Friend of the podcast, Wilkie, actually gave me an idea too. So
yeah, nice. I'm looking forward to hear it. We gotta have a PUDs meeting session where we just sit down and go over
brainstorm, everything. Get charts and stuff.
Yeah, charts,
sticky notes, highlighters.
Nothing but charts and spreadsheets,
Sharpies, and
floppy disks.
Yeah, floppy disks. I'm going to store this on a floppy. It's secure. Yeah. Nobody has these anymore. Cool, man.
So, don't forget, like, review, subscribe. You can find us on social media at PUDs Podcast. You can email us at pudspodcast@outlook.com. And, give us a like. Please review if you can. Tell us if you like it. And subscribe.
And let us
reach out to us on Instagram too, and Facebook and all that stuff. So we love to hear from the people.
Yeah, and let us know what I put up our winter photo now too. We have our winter little logo up there.
Yeah,
which I thought
you sent me you got me one of your calendars for Christmas. The one of the calendars that you made, and it's freaking awesome, dude. It's such a good calendar.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it sold. I ended up selling. So I didn't even tell you this yet, but I had a couple people on Facebook that reached out just like the second week of January and actually ordered them. So I've sold like 13 at this point to people. Not rolling in the dough, but not bad. And I'm talking people that aren't family or friends. Like this is just people. Like I posted photos on Instagram or Facebook and said, hey, if you want these, someone wanted prints, and then I got like 10 other calendars. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. You got to set up an Etsy or something.
Yeah, and next year what I'm going to do is I think go to somewhere and print them in bulk for a little bit cheaper, because the place I use just cost a lot for shipping and whatnot compared to if I just ordered them in bulk and then shipped them out. But I'm glad you like the calendar. Yeah,
thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
And thank you for your beans. We did a bean swap last week.
We did we did do a bean swap.
Well, we had our wives do a bean swap, to be precise, and they returned the beans to us. Yeah.
The good beans.
Yeah, I can't wait to try your beans.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get out of here. It's too much.
Happy 2024. Lots more PUDs coming your way. Hopefully this episode has no technical difficulties. I'm going to splice it back together, and I'm going to use my cell phone reception for FaceTime if I'm uploading 120 gigabyte videos to YouTube next time.
That's a great idea.
Probably a good idea.
I'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate that if you do that.
All right, man.
Bippity boppity, give me the zoppity.
Bye. PUDs Podcast was produced and recorded in Black Cat Studios by the Pud Boys. Find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving us a review and subscribing. Find us on social media, and we'll see you next time.